Welcome back. The Conservatives are demanding HMRC urgently investigate the Deputy Prime Minister's tax affairs. Here to discuss is Conservative Party Chairman Kevin Hollinrake. Very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
I'm interested in the overall snapshot of where you stand at this moment. Are you happy to wait for the independent ethics advisor to make an investigation, or is the party already calling for resignation?
Yeah, sadly, we're already calling for resignation. I just don't think we don't think that Angela Rayner's position is tenable. You know, she's housing secretary, she's deputy prime minister. You've got responsibility to exercise reasonable care in terms of your tax affairs. It is not some obscure rule that she's broken. It's quite clear on the HMRC website that trusts count as a primary residence, which is what she's saying she got wrong. And I think the added context of this is that Angela Rayner has often spoken out about tax avoidance, how wrong that is, how politicians should resign if they're found guilty of that. But let's not forget, tax avoidance is lawful. What Angela Rayner's done is not lawful. She's broken the rules. So, given all those things, I just don't see how her position is tenable.
I don't know if tax avoidance is lawful, but whatever turn of phrase we use on it. I just gave Bridget Phillipson some questions about hypocrisy because of the idea that in opposition they always called for resignations, not to wait for the result of investigations. I guess the same can apply here to you guys in opposition. And maybe, as I said to her, it's a reality of politics that when in opposition, everyone's going to say, resign, 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 no need to wait for the results of the independent investigation. And that's just the way we are. But do you acknowledge that in government, through a course of various different scandals, the government always said, let's wait for the result of the independent investigation? And you're not doing that now.
Well, I think Angela Rayner's situation here is different. And listen, we're taking a position...
So do you acknowledge, therefore, that there is a bit of hypocrisy in that?
No, I think there's hypocrisy from Angela Rayner because she said in exactly the same circumstances, if somebody has admitted tax avoidance, as she has, it's beyond tax avoidance, let's be clear about that, but she's said to others should step down, that our Prime Minister's weak for not sacking those individuals. The reality is, if this was a Conservative Member of Parliament today, Angela Rayner would be calling for their resignation. She's taken the moral position on this before. So to take that position and then when it happens to you not follow those rules that she set for herself, those standards, is gross hypocrisy.
But what about Owen Paterson? What about Nadhim Zahawi? I mean, your party, your government said, let's wait for the independent investigation.
Well, actually,
why doesn't the same apply here?
We did wait for an independent investigation with Owen Paterson, and I think most of Parliament did too. I don't think anybody tried to prejudge that particular situation.
But why? But that's what I'm saying. Can't we wait for these to play out now and get a definitive? You've called for an HMRC investigation. Can't we wait for that result? Can't we wait for the independent ethics advisor's result?
Of course, that's what Angela Rayner could do, but she's taken a moral position in the past that people shouldn't wait for those investigations. She's already admitted she's broken the rules. Not that she's avoided tax, she's gone further than that. So, by her own standards, she should resign. It's very clear.
But by your own standards, have you not taken a moral position in the past to say, let's wait for the full facts?
I think in this position now, we have said that Angela Rayner should resign. If I was now charged with the same offence in these situations, I admitted to avoiding tax or gone further than that in terms of I've actually broken the law on tax here, I would resign in those circumstances. So I'm not asking Angela Rayner to do something I wouldn't be prepared to do.
So let's now talk about, so why are you calling for an HMRC investigation? What's the difference in that?
Because there is no sign at this point in time Angela Rayner is going to resign. I think she's going to try and tough it out. So I think there's a context of this around the independent advisor on ministerial standards, Laurie Magnus, who's looking at this. He'll make a judgment on it, but also HMRC. So Angela Rayner's got to be treated just like anybody else in this circumstance. I'm not actually asking for harsher treatment, but the reality is she's clearly broken the rules. She's admitted to it. We've said, if you've got to investigate this, you should investigate this, and if you would apply a penalty to somebody else in the same situation, you should apply that penalty to Angela Rayner.
There's a lot, obviously, to discuss here, as we are, and we have been for 24 hours on this channel after Beth Rigby's interview with Angela Rayner. Should Kemi Badenoch have landed more punches, hypothetically, metaphorically, excuse me, on the Prime Minister on this topic yesterday than she did?
Well, she's very clear. As she said, does the Prime Minister have the backbone to sack the Deputy Prime Minister? That she must either step down or be sacked. Very clear on that. But what she also talked about yesterday were the other key matters that are of real interest and concern to people: the cost of living, the rising unemployment, the rising inflation, the rising cost of government debt. All these things are very material to people now, and the potential rise in taxes in November this year when the budget comes this year. So it's fair enough. I think people are concerned about Angela Rayner, and it is a key point right now. But it's not the only point right now, and we've got to make sure we address people's real concerns, and the cost of living is a real concern to people right now.
As we look ahead to the budget, end of November, do you think that the increasing borrowing costs we've seen in recent weeks will have time to come down by then?
Well, there's no sign of that right now. They're going the other way, and which is quite unusual, is because at the same time, the Bank of England base rate is dropping, and it shows actually the markets are very worried about Rachel Reeves' stewardship of this economy. So they're worried about what's coming down the track next, in terms of potential increased taxes in November, which because Rachel Reeves has created her own black hole, 50-60 billion pounds. She's going to have to fill that somehow, and that's probably going to be more taxes, because it's perfectly evident that this Labour government is not strong enough to cut spending, and that's what either you're going to raise taxes or cut spending. That's her only choices.
Kevin Hollinrake, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Good to see you this morning, the Conservative Party chairman.